Welcome to Minutes with Lynnis, brought to you by Wellness Woman 40 and Beyond. Embark on this journey with me, Lynnis Mullins, your certified holistic living and wellness expert for women over 40, as we explore tips for an ever-growing mind, body, and spirit in just a few minutes. Welcome, welcome. It is Tuesday in the Wellness Woman group, and I want to say welcome to all the replayers on Instagram and also on YouTube. Thank you, Twitter followers, for listening to Lynnis Minutes. And for those of you who don't know, you can always look at replays of Lynnis Minutes on my YouTube channel. It's the Praiseworks Wellness Woman 40 channel on YouTube, and just go to the playlist list Lynnis Minutes, and there you'll see all the Lynnis Minutes that I do live on Facebook. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. For those of you who aren't listening live, this is the day after, a couple of days after the tragedy with the shootings in Texas and in Ohio. And yesterday, I talked about things that we can do to put some light into the world so that we can continue moving forward and achieving our goals and objectives and going after those blessings and dreams. I love to call them blessings and dreams that we all have, that we definitely have after 40. Just because you're over 40 doesn't mean that life stops. In fact, for me, life just really began. I started my business when I was 51, and I've been doing it now for 10 years. And boy, has it been an adventure. I have learned so much. And while my a specialty or my expertise is in wellness for women over 40, I also have been unwittingly become an expert in entrepreneurialism, especially if it's a startup, and especially if you want to do part of your business virtually. Man, I know it all because I've done it all. Some of it worked out, some of it didn't. But I wanted to focus specifically today on some things you might be wanting to think about from a wellness perspective if you're thinking about going into business after 40, especially if you're thinking about doing it maybe as a second career after retirement. There's some things from a wellness perspective I just kind of wanted to share with you and bring to your attention. I wish someone had told me these things when I got started. But you know, it was so new. Back in 2009, I barely knew what the internet was or what social media was. I used the internet for my work. I was a human resource manager, and I used it for looking at resumes and things like that, the news, CNN, that kind of thing. But I didn't even know what Facebook was. In fact, I can remember when I started my business and when I first discovered Facebook, I told my kids about, hey, have you guys heard about Facebook? And they're like, Mom, been there, already done that. And it's like, oh, I didn't know. I thought I was on the cutting edge. And little did I know, I may not have been on the cutting edge in terms of knowledge on Facebook, but I did find out much later that I was on the cutting edge in terms of what it was that I wanted to do. So whether or not you have this brand new idea that you want to launch that maybe nobody else has done, maybe you don't have any benchmarks. I hope you do have benchmarks. I didn't have any, so I hope you have some benchmarks. Or you're going into something that's been tried or true. You still want to take a look at the kinds of things you need to be thinking about from a wellness perspective. So I have 5 tips that I think you should be practicing as you move into entrepreneurship that has all to do with self-care, because that's part of my messaging is self-care is huge and very much needed when you are past 40, when you're in midlife. Is so needed. First of all, when you start a business, do not do what I did. I was so excited about the business that I sat behind a computer probably 14, 15 hours a day. I took breaks to cook dinner for my kids, to help with homework, because at the time when I started my business, I had 1 child in college and 3 still in school. So I was juggling that way. But one of the things I didn't do was I didn't set aside time for yourself. Make sure you set aside time for yourself. Make time for the things that matter to you. And I'm not talking about things that matter to you in terms of the business, but things that matter to you that's not business, things that matter to you before you started your business. Set aside that time to do that. We know that time is precious, and we're precious too. And in order to continue being the heart and soul of your business, you want to make sure that you set some time to do things that are important to you. I did not do that. And going into my 5th year, I was burnt out. And thankfully, thanks to a lot of love from friends and family, and one lady in particular, she kind of kept me uplifted, and I finally began to realize that, oh, I need to start taking better care of me so I can talk to other women about taking care of them. So, word to the wise, set aside time for yourself. The other thing I think is really super important is to reconnect with the great outdoors. Um, you spend a lot of time indoors when you're starting a business, unless you happen to be starting a business that takes you outdoors. But initially, even if it's an outdoor business, initially you're spending a lot of time indoors, setting things up and, networking, learning things on the computer, social media, whatever it is. But there's something about getting out in the fresh air and nature that makes a huge difference. And it also gives yourself a permission to pause. Every morning, I think I mentioned this before, I always go outside in my front yard and I do this grounding exercise, only about 5 minutes or so. I take off my shoes and I go and I stand in the wet dirt and I just work on grounding myself, listening to the wind in the trees, maybe watching a bird fly. I have a lot of squirrels and birds. I have a whole community outside my window in my office. I have all these trees and stuff right in front of my office. And outside of there is just this whole world that we sometimes miss because we're so busy thinking about other stuff. So you want to reconnect with the great outdoors, take a brisk walk, go and stand out in your front yard and ground yourself, whatever it is that you do. You want to do that because it refreshes your mind. And did you know when you're taking in deep breaths like this, you're breathing, taking in fresh oxygen, which oxygenates the blood, which carries on to your brain. That's why after you spend some time outdoors taking deep breaths, you feel refreshed and you might be thinking more clearly because you have more blood going to the brain. So it's real important to do that. The other thing is, of course, and this seems like an obvious, but this is something else I wasn't doing a lot of when I was starting my business. Eat, sleep, and move. Okay. I talk about eating all the time, making sure you are eating the rainbow, that you are getting enough sleep, uninterrupted sleep without the TV going on in the background, hopefully. And movement, exercise is key, not just because you want to stay in shape, but because it gets those endorphins going. A lot of times when you're starting a business or when you're in the throes of entrepreneurialism, you'll have some tough days. Some days just don't go the way you want them to. But when you start exercising and moving and you get those happy hormones going, then all of a sudden things don't seem so bad. So eat, sleep, and move. Don't forget to do that. It's really super important. Another thing that I think is really good is that you learn how to stay consistent. By staying consistent, I mean making sure that you have your schedule of self-care. Don't make it intermittent, like, one day you do it, the next day you don't. You want to make sure that you're staying consistent in your health care and your self-care every single day. If I have a ritual that I do every morning, and I've talked to you about this, and I think I'm going to talk about it again, and that is making sure that you start your day in a positive way. And so I have a ritual that I do. And it's interesting because right now, for 1 month, I'm kind of switching up on that ritual because I have some traveling and things to do. And so I'm not going to be able to make my prayer line every morning like I normally do, and my Bible study line every morning like I normally do. But I have replaced it with something else that's similar so I can maintain that consistency. And I've been doing this religiously for 10 years in terms of reading something uplifting and inspirational, my scripture, journaling on how I'm feeling and what's going on in my life, getting some movement in, whether it's a quick walk or doing yoga, making sure that I, have my breakfast, which is for me a green smoothie with maca powder or something like that. That gives me a lot of energy, and maybe a boiled egg or something like that. That's normally what I have in the mornings. But it's a ritual for me, and I try to stay consistent with that piece of my day every day. What happens during the course of the day can sometimes be kind of crazy, but that consistent self-care in the beginning of the day can really make a big difference in terms of your overall success of the business. It's important that as an entrepreneur that you remain strong, that you remember that you are powerful and you are so worth it. You are so worth it to take this time, setting aside time for you. And taking good care of you. And there's one other thing I wanted to mention about starting a business. I have a friend who, when she got started, she had just retired and she had set aside some money for training and classes and things like that. And so she hired a lot of different coaches for a lot of different things. Nothing wrong with that. But sometimes when you first get started in business, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to need. I hired, when I first got started, a marketing consultant and business consultant who helped me get my business set up, taught me about social media, and gave me some basic skills and tools. And what he taught me 10 years ago, I still am using to this day. So when you're thinking about a coach, think about, the things that will resonate with you, that will help you form that vision. And then I've taken classes during that time. During the last 10 years, I've had a couple of coaches. And I just recently hired another coach who is more like my virtual business partner. Her name is Fran, I hope I'm saying this right, Arsenault. And I always mispronounce her name, but she is absolutely fabulous. And the reason why is because she takes a real partnership viewpoint. She really cares about your business and really becomes more a part of your business. I would say for me, she's more like a spiritual guru, coach, and consultant. For me. And there is a difference between a coach and a consultant. And the reason why I call her a consultant is because she's so knowledgeable in so many areas of business. So when you get to that point in your entrepreneurial journey and you're looking at coaches, you might want to consider someone like Fran, someone who's very spiritual, but also has some of the nuts and bolts in terms of the marketing piece and the other parts that you need to really make your business zing. I'm going to put her information in the comments for you guys can check her out and find out more about what she does. Another person who I would recommend when you're first getting started in your business and to help you with manifestation when it comes to the money that you want to make is Keisha Dixon. She is fabulous. I can't say enough good things about her. She just knows how to get that money machine going. And she does it from the art of tapping. She's been on my shows before. She's one of the co-speakers of the Self-Love Explosion tour. And she's a lady who was running the Gratitude Journal. I'll put her information in the comments as well. A couple other things I wanted to share with you in terms of what's going on with me. For those of you who are going to be in the Sacramento area on September 14th, I'll be having my book signing at the Underground Book. So I would love to see any of you in the Sacramento area to come and support me. I'd love to see you in person. That's Underground Books in Sacramento on September 14th. And it was just announced that I'm going to be one of the speakers at the Sacramento Women's Expo on October 5th. More information will be coming about that. So one other thing I wanted to remind everybody, I really do have a go-give spirit. I like to promote other people's businesses and things that they're doing. But let's remember that those promotions are only on Talk Tuesday. I get a lot of people who submit things to me all throughout the week, a lot of MLMs and things like that. And I just want to let you know, I'm not going to post all of those. I'm only going to post the things that are sent to me about your businesses on Tuesdays, okay? Because I don't want to run away all these women thinking that, oh gosh, I don't want to go to Lynnis's group because it's just people pitching things all the time. That's not what this group is for. This group is to exchange information and to hopefully learn. And yes, I do tell you about my services, but I try to be respectful of your time about all of that because this is my business, my group. I am in this business to make money, absolutely. But I also want to share information and to help all of you to be well in your mind, body, and spirit by living holistically. And I love sharing information about businesses that have a holistic approach, that have an idea of wellness for women over 40. So it's not that I don't want to promote you, but just make sure you submit them on Tuesdays, and I will make sure that they get posted. Thanks so much for listening. And tomorrow, we're going to have with us a lady who's going to be talking about dating after 40, after 50, in midlife. She knows all about it because she found her soulmate after that age. So we're going to have with us a lady who specializes in helping women to find that significant other after 40, 50, 60, and beyond. On Lynnis Minutes, another sharing is caring moment. If you are interested in sharing your business, your products and services on one of my sharing is caring segments, please let me know. Just message me on Facebook and I'll tell you all about it and what we can do to help you get your message out to hundreds of thousands of women who are following me on the internet. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a fantabulous day. God bless. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you have something to share, please comment below. For more Wellness Woman videos, be sure to click the subscribe button below and check out my Facebook group, Wellness Woman 40 and Beyond. But most importantly, don't forget to love yourself and educate, encourage, and empower your mind, body, spirit wellness.